Hi, my name is Barbara Barker, and I teach plant-based cooking classes, and I write plant-based cookbooks. And today, on this rather warm summer day, I'm going to teach you how to make brownies, because you can always go to a party and take brownies. So because it's so warm, I'm just going to get started. You start with half a cup of oat flour, if I can get the container on. Remember from the last classes, rolled oats that are ground up to make a flour are a superfood because they have lots of fiber and they keep you full for a very long time, and they help control your eating because it helps you stay full. And the next ingredient is 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and as long as it's unsweetened cocoa powder, you can use any kind of cocoa powder you like, and stir that around. And the next ingredient is baking soda, 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. And you stir that around, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, and 1/2 a teaspoon each of cinnamon and cardamom. And I don't know if I've talked about cardamom yet, but they've done a lot of lab experiments, and cardamom makes cancer cells go through what they call cell suicide. So it's a good thing to have in your pantry and to use in your sweet ingredients. Tastes kind of like citrus. And the next thing is 1/2 a cup of stevia sweetened chocolate chips. Stir those around. These are what the package looks like. It's dark chocolate. You can get semi-chocolate. You can even get white chocolate. But we like the dark chocolate. They're kind of strong ones. And so those are your dry ingredients. And your wet ingredients are, this is 1 tablespoon of pureed tofu. Remember we talked about the pureed tofu before. This takes the place of all the oil in your recipe because there is no oil, no fat of any kind, no butter in this recipe. There's also no sugar. Because we use liquid stevia. This is what the bottle looks like. And you put in about 10 drops. And you can buy this online. Make sure you get the one that does not have alcohol in it. It's just straight glycerin and distilled stevia. Stevia is actually a green plant that you can buy at the nursery and grow in your own backyard, and then you just pick the leaves off and dry them, and you can, once they're dry, you can grind them just with your hand and put them in any recipe that you have. And it'll make it sweet. Then the next ingredient is 3 tablespoons of applesauce. And remember we talked about these little pouches for the applesauce. And then if you don't use the whole pouch, you can put the rest in the refrigerator and use it whenever. And then the next ingredient is the flax egg. Takes the place of a real egg, so you're not getting all the cholesterol and fat from the real egg, because these are all plant-based. And I mixed the flaxseed meal ground up, mix it with 3 tablespoons of water, and I also put the vanilla flavoring in here. You can go anywhere from 1/2 a teaspoon all the way up to 2 teaspoons of vanilla, depending on if you like the flavor of vanilla. So these are your wet ingredients going in. And to get the flaxseed to make a gelatinous meal like this, the consistency of an egg, you want to let it sit for about 10 or 15 minutes before you use it. And then the true miracle of this dish is mashed sweet potatoes. You take a warm sweet potato and you can peel it and cook it in a covered saucepan for about half an hour. And when it cools off enough for you to touch it, then you can mash it up and you get a puree that looks like this. You know what mashed sweet potatoes look like. If you've ever cooked at Thanksgiving dinner, you know what mashed sweet potatoes look like. So this is a half a cup of mashed sweet potatoes. And so basically, this brownie is rolled oats, applesauce, and mashed sweet potatoes, and some flaxseed meal. So if that doesn't sound healthy, I don't know what does. So this is kind of a thick batter, and cocoa powder is a true superfood. It does everything almost head to toe. It's good for a healthy heart. It's got the antioxidants and flavonoids in it that reduces cholesterol, reduces blood pressure. 1 ounce of it is equivalent to a half an hour's worth of exercise because it releases the endorphins into your system that elevate your mood and tells your body that it's had a half an hour worth of exercise. So if you want to, you can look up the health benefits of cocoa powder on the internet and you will be amazed. Of course, this is cocoa powder that is unsweetened and it has no fat in it. So don't get like hot cocoa mix that is like 2/3 sugar. Just get the plain, unsweetened cocoa powder. And you can buy it at any grocery store. And this makes a very thick batter. And the sweet potatoes, they interviewed a lady on television that was celebrating her 114th birthday. And they asked her what was the secret to her longevity. And she said she ate a sweet potato every day. The sweet potato has a lot of fiber in it, and a lot of vitamins, a lot of minerals, and well, that was her secret. So now what we're going to do, I want you to see, this is a very thick batter, because these in my book, Inspired Plant-Based Parties, these are under the name of Fudge-Like Brownies. So you can see how thick the batter is, and it's very much like a fudge. Some recipes that I see for brownies, they go in like pancake quickly. So I don't know how that works. But anyway, so then for insurance, you want to spray an 8x8 pan with your, remember we talked about the olive oil spray for insurance. And then you're going to bake this at 350 for 25 minutes. And they come out looking like this. And once it's cooled, you want to cool this in the refrigerator before you actually cut it. Because if you try to cut it when it comes directly out of the oven, it will just crumble on you. So it has to be cooled to actually make a square. So you want to get all this batter in here and just press it in the pan to cover all the pan and the corners. And if you want a brownie that's medium thickness like this, use an 8x8 pan. If you want a thin brownie, you're serving a lot of people, and you want them to just have a small taste of brownie without all the volume, you make it in a 10 by 10 pan or a 9 by 13 pan, and you'll get like a little skinny brownie. But usually 8 by 8 is what you're going to do. So then you put this in a 350 degree oven for 25 minutes, and they come out like this. And then you can eat them plain like this, or in my book, The Inspired Plant-Based Parties, there's also the recipe for chocolate frosting. So chocolate frosting is pretty easy. You start again with about a half cup of mashed sweet potatoes. And I have lots of different recipes in my book for frosting, but this is the best recipe because it's nice and thick. So I'm not going to give you the other recipes, I'm just going to show you this one. You put about a tablespoon, forgive me, I don't really measure very much anymore. Put about a tablespoon of cocoa powder in with your half cup of mashed sweet potatoes, and you put in about 10 drops of your liquid stevia, and you just stir it around. And like I said, don't wear light colored good clothes when you're stirring cocoa powder into something, because what's going to happen is it's going to somehow fly up onto your clothes and make a permanent dark stain. So when you work around cocoa powder, make sure you're wearing dark colored clothes. And what you're going to see is this is also a very thick batter. And then if you want to serve this brownie as a cake, as a piece of chocolate cake, you don't have to tell the people it's a brownie. Just tell them it's a piece of cake. This would be good to serve like at a high tea party. And you could just put this down on a dish with a strawberry or something, and just call it chocolate cake, because that's basically what it is. And so you just take a glop of your cocoa powder and sweet potato and put it on top of your brownie, and put it on a dish, like I said, with a strawberry, and voila, you have a chocolate frosting covered brownie piece of cake. And you'll see it's a very thick batter too. And you can keep this in the fridge anywhere from 3 to 5 days, unless you eat the whole thing first. But there's nothing in here except sweet potatoes. So I want to say thank God that you have someone that's willing to share these healthy food recipes with you. And you are very valuable. So please take care of yourself and eat well. Thank you.